Hey, I'm Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates, and I've got another real estate news breakdown for you. And in today's video, we're gonna go over an article written in the Seattle PI Post-Intelligencer. And this article is titled, I'm gonna read it so I don't screw it up, Zillow, Seattle renters have to stretch their household budgets more than Seattle homeowners. And they're also drawing on another article written by Zillow, which I think is a little more fun, and we'll jump to that one here as well. Where do households have the most money after housing? So after paying for their housing costs. So this PI article jumps in and kind of analyzes the Seattle stats, essentially from this Zillow article, and they point out that based on 2018 median numbers, the average homeowner has about $62,000 left after paying for their housing, and the average renter has about $59,500, so about $60,000 after paying for their rent. And the numbers here, and let's look here really quick at the Seattle numbers on the Zillow study. So mortgage, percent of their income spent on mortgage, 28.1% for the average homeowner. And the average percent of income spent on rent is about 31%, 30.9%. And what's fascinating is, although Seattle actually is one of the more expensive places to live in this Zillow study, they have also one of the largest amount of income left over after paying for housing. That didn't sound very good, but I didn't say that very well, but it's the truth. And as we look at this, I'll flash this. I highlighted some different spots just for fun, but top of the list as the least amount of money left over in large metro areas, you have Los Angeles, California taking the lead. They spend about 44% of their income if they have a mortgage, and about 46% of their income if they pay rent, leaving them with about $41,000 left over with a mortgage and about $40,000 here with rent. Other places you'd think like Cleveland or just in Ohio in general, or maybe Missouri, some of the Midwest places, they're gonna have a very small percentage of their income spent on housing, but since the salaries are so much lower, the amount of money left over is actually less than a place like Seattle or San Jose, where things are really expensive. And actually the one with the most amount of money left over is Washington, D.C. So kind of interesting, like Cleveland, Ohio you have about $47,000 left over after paying for a mortgage and about $40,000 left for rent. And it's interesting because it's a lot cheaper in a place like Cleveland to own a house, significantly. 13% of income on a mortgage, 26% or 25.5% on rent. So it's way cheaper to buy a house there than it would be to rent. Whereas in Seattle's way down here on this list. So as far as the amount of money left over. Not the percentages, but the amount of money left over. You're looking at 28.1% on a mortgage and 31% on rent. So it is cheaper. You do have more money left over for the median income earner and the median house to buy in Seattle, but it's not that significant. The difference isn't large, whereas it's huge in some of these other markets. Now, Washington, D.C., this seems like the ideal place to move. Maybe this is why Amazon was targeting them. Yeah, it's expensive to buy there, but the average person that owns a home, about 19.3% of their mortgage or their income is spent on mortgage and about 25% on rent, leaving them with approximately $83,000, $83,600 or $700 if they rent. So it's just fascinating to look at this. And Seattle is definitely an expensive place to live. You do pay a larger percentage of your income for housing, as this study does reinforce, but you also have a significant amount of money left over after paying for your housing expenses. Now, Zillow gets into more specifics on certain areas like San Francisco and other places where they look at the cost of taxes and transportation and daycare, and they really get more into the weeds about, okay, what do you actually have left over to play with? And I didn't crunch all the numbers there, but even though you have more money left over in Seattle, it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually, at the end of the day, have more money, because maybe your childcare costs more than it does in Cleveland, Ohio, and your transportation might cost more than Cleveland, Ohio. But I find it fascinating here, as last week we were talking about the affordability of Seattle and how it is a little bit more expensive, specifically if you live in the city, but not a ton more expensive on at the median at least, than other large metros. And then to look here and see, okay, you do spend a larger percentage of your income to live in Seattle or the Seattle area, but you also have more money to play with. So fascinating information. I hope you find it fascinating as well. I'll have another real estate news breakdown for you again here soon. I'm having fun with these. I hope you're having fun with these. It's always, I always read these and have my own opinions, so I figured, hey, let's put it on video. Let's share those opinions and thoughts, and hopefully add a little bit of context and a little bit of value to what you're seeing in the news. Again, Zach McDonald, your real estate agent here. And if you are watching this and you are getting value out of this content, I'd appreciate if you'd subscribe to my channel. And until next time, bye for now.